Welcome to our special Shop Talk edition of the Omni Talk Spotlight Series, the series that spotlights the companies, the people, and the technologies that are shaping the future of retail. Or, said another way, the series that brings you tomorrow's companies today. I am your host, Mezzenga, one of the founders of Omni Talk, and today's podcast is brought to you through the partnership and support of our Shop Talk content sponsor, Meta. Discovery Commerce matches products to people, not just any people, the people most likely to love your product. When you turn to Discovery Commerce, you turn discovery into demand. Is your business ready? Find out how at meta.com/discovery commerce. Okay, so OmniTalk listeners, this company has been in the headlines at least weekly for the last several months. We've talked about them on our Fast Five so often. We are thrilled to have DoorDash Vice President of Global Partnerships, Shanna Prevé, on the show today to break down all the latest news for us. Shanna, welcome to the show.
Hey, Anne, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and super excited to be at Shop Talk. So I'm a big fan of the show and your Fast Five. So thank you for having me.
We were just joking before the recording, but I'm not kidding. I feel like every week we're trying to figure out, like, do we cover another DoorDash story? Because you guys are doing so much.
So much.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about like you and your role at DoorDash first, just to kind of set the stage for us.
So I actually lead global partnerships, and that's a fancy title, but what it means is I work with all of our top partners in each of our verticals. So, I work with Bed Bath & Beyond, with PetSmart, with Macy's, trying to figure out how we can get their products, their services, and their brands in the hands of our customers. And that extends actually to all of the verticals that we're moving into. So groceries, I work really closely with Albertsons and Meijer, Smart and Final, as well as our restaurant partners, which, is where we started.
I'd love to hear a little bit about that evolution. I mean, I think a lot of people still know DoorDash for the restaurant delivery service, the go-to. I mean, I feel like you guys have been around for the longest. You're so expansive, and people all around the country have seen you. But how did you guys kind of make this transition into these next areas of service?
Really, we started as a restaurant delivery company because that was the most difficult delivery to get right. But our goal was always to be able to deliver everything in your local community to your doorstep. And so when you think about restaurant, that's a really hard use case, right? Like, how do we deliver ice cream when it's cold still to the consumer? And how do we take piping hot soup and make sure it's still hot when we deliver that to your doorstep? Those are clearly the hardest use cases. And if we could get those right, then really we could deliver anything else. So I think the goal was work on restaurant, grow that set of offerings so that we could really service any restaurant. And then once we had a strong logistics platform that could deliver anything, move into these other verticals. Because to be honest with you, Anne, like the goal has always been to level the playing field and create an equal opportunity so that any merchant could connect with their online customer.
Okay. Explain that a little bit more, because that really came to the fore during the pandemic too. I mean, all of these places, from convenience stores to even like drive-through delivery, like that, or providing delivery for drive-through or restaurants. How do you guys think about that, and how did that kind of take off in the last couple of years?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the pandemic had a lot to do with pulling the need for convenience forward, because convenience was sort of fueled also by the need for safety. But what we've seen is that as the focus on safety has receded, the need for convenience has stayed.
And so it has not changed.
Absolutely. It absolutely hasn't. It's actually, only become, I think the bar has become higher from the consumer perspective. I just think about myself, right? I know I can hop in the car and head to the grocery store when I forget to buy something. But I'd rather not. And that's really what DoorDash is focusing on. It's just removing the friction between me and the things that I want. Those things started out as my turkey burger. But now, more often than not, I'm actually going to DoorDash for other use cases. Like, for example, cough medicine, any of my toiletry products.
Right.
We are partnered with Walgreens, we're partnered with CVS. So a lot of the beauty products that I need, we're partnered with Sephora. So these are things that I need. Actually, I have a replenishment use case. I know what I want. I know what brand I want. But I also know that I don't always have the time to hop in the car, head to the store, get into the store, wait in line, get my product, and come home. And
Right.
so I love the fact that DoorDash connects me with more and more brands, more and more products, and ultimately should connect me with everything in my local community.
Well, tell us a little bit about, Shanna, what people can, like, how are they experiencing DoorDash right now? Like, how many outlets do they have to do that? I mean, they're getting restaurant food, they're getting the beauty supply products, they're getting drug products. What else can people do with DoorDash right now?
One of the top use cases we see are people ordering late night, right? They're ordering bread. We see them ordering bananas. We see them ordering packable drinks and dairy products. And so when we look at the data and we try to analyze, who's our customer, who's actually using this use case, like, we think it's parents, right? Like parents who forgot bread for their kids' lunch and just need to make it really quickly. They're working on homework, they're putting the kids to bed. Like, how can we remove the friction and make lunch an easy experience for them without having to send them into the store?
Yeah. And not having to make that decision with like a 2-hour window, to plan out a 2-hour window. I think that's the most important thing about instant delivery, especially in the grocery space, where it's like, I don't have, 2 hours to wait for this, or next day to wait for this. You like your example, I need bread. I need it like in 15 to 20 minutes so that I can make my kids lunch and be ready for the next day. I think that's such an important call out. I'm curious, Shanna, how DashMart fits into all of this. How are you guys thinking about, your own retail store?
We use DashMart. It's a micro fulfillment center, usually located close to our consumers, really as a platform for experimentation. So in the New York City area, we launched a DashMart so that we could learn how to do ultra fast delivery. So our goal is to get a set of grocery items or convenience items to the consumer in 15 minutes. If you think about that, I mean, that's really hard to do.
Oh,
the customer promise is really high. But we had to start doing it so that we could learn and figure out what exactly does it take, right? Because when you start with one of these problems, like, the problems you actually end up encountering are never the ones that you think you're going to encounter. And you only figure it out by learning. And the benefit of that is that we took the learnings from our DashMart in New York and actually applied that to this new product that we launched with Albertsons in February called Express Grocery, where we are sort of trying to out-innovate ourselves. It's not just grocery delivery in 45 minutes. It's, can you get your groceries delivered from Albertsons using Express in 30 minutes?
That's unbelievable. And I like how you guys are kind of learning as you go along and kind of expanding each of the offerings. One thing that you also have launched recently that we were talking about on our podcast was this idea of piloting returns for customers. So the other side of the purchase. Can you talk a little bit about that addition as well?
So it was a very small test, and we're really just trying to learn a lot. But if you think about, how DoorDash can play a role here, we really have to start from our differentiation or our strengths. Like, we are a logistics network and we do millions and millions of deliveries a day. And so if I have a Dasher and they're coming to your house and to deliver your lunch, wouldn't it just be a great user experience if they could also grab those boxes so that the chief returns officer in your house doesn't have to do it?
Yes.
And so that's really what we're trying to learn more about. And listen, this isn't an easy problem to solve.
Right.
If it was, it would have been solved already. And so it's a big one. But we're starting small, and hopeful that in doing this, we will discover and learn and try to be able to bring this sort of service both to consumers, but frankly, also to our retailers. Wouldn't they
Mhm.
love to solve this problem as well?
Yeah. And I mean, from DoorDash's perspective, I mean, having your extensive network of dashers being able to be doing more and having another pickup, like to be counted on once they are dropping off my lunch, to know that they've got another task right away. They're not, there's no idle time. They are really maximizing all of the time and the opportunity for each of those dashers to make as much money as they can. And, and whatever the flexible schedule is for them for the day, I imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, for us, we really try to make sure that the demand density stays as efficient as possible for
Mhm.
dashers, because that's what keeps dashers on the road. And so, by making sure that we have a good experience for dashers and for consumers and for our merchants, that's what makes the system work.
I was just talking on LinkedIn the other day about just how extensive the DoorDash network is. I mean, I had an order that I placed at Walmart, and it was a DoorDash driver that brought it to me. Not, and there was something wrong with my order, but the DoorDash person was who was contacting me to say, "I'm working on your order. It's going to be delayed. What can I do for you?" Whatever, not the Walmart one. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is a DoorDash driver? I thought this was going to be Walmart." So I think there's so DoorDash is so much more pervasive than customers even realize. And I'm curious what's on the roadmap? Like, where do you guys go next? Are you the super app for every desire that the customer might have? I mean, what's like the master plan here, Shanna?
Oh my gosh, that would make my job even more fun than it is, than it is today. But yeah, I mean, I think what's important about that, that experience that you had is that we're not. I think DoorDash is really trying to also help retailers of any ilk create and sustain their own channel as well, because we know that there's going to be consumers that want to go to Walmart.com, right? They're not going to want to place all of their shopping orders, regardless of the item, on DoorDash, and that's okay. We want to actually partner with the merchants to create like this thriving ecosystem where they can have their own channel. We think that's the best for consumers. We think that's the best for merchants, and so we do often partner to power all the deliveries that happen from a retailer. One new retailer that I'm super excited to announce is with BJ's Wholesale Club. So
Oh, wow.
they're a leading membership warehouse club
Yes.
across 17 states, 226 stores, and they will be our first wholesale market club on our marketplace. But we are also helping them power their channel,
Wow.
so that customers who go to bjs.com can get their groceries delivered, with help of DoorDash as well.
When can people expect to do that? When will it be live?
So as of March 28, you can check out any of your groceries from DoorDash.com, or go to bjs.com, order your groceries and get them delivered.
This sounds like my dream. Has it been wonderful?
Well, I love going to these stores because you never know what you're going to discover.
Right.
And it's super fun. It's sort of like an adult amusement park, right? But sometimes I also need to buy, a 24 pack of LaCroix water, or, things that are heavy.
Yes.
And for me, it's hard. It can be tough to go and like lug all of that by myself. And so I love the option of being able to get it delivered.
What else do you think is key to successfully operating this type of business model?
To put it simply, it's making sure that we can deliver anything a consumer would want in minutes, not hours or days. And this convenience trend that we see, it's just going to continue. And so I think with us, what we try to do is look at our large audience. We've got these 25 million users we talked about, and what they're asking us for. Like, what do they want? And just trying to partner with the brands that they want. Another thing that has really grown as a result of the pandemic, but is I think a trend to stay, is that a lot of our customers have signed up for free delivery. They do that through a product that we have called Dash Pass.
Yep.
And so it's it's a monthly subscription for just $10, and you get free delivery and reduced fees across the board. And so what that says is, wow, like we have 10 million subscribers. I mean, this has got to be one of the fastest growing subscriptions that I've ever worked on. But it shows you the value of reducing the friction with the consumers.
Is there a minimum kind of threshold of retailer that you all would work with, or how does that work?
We want to work with all retailers. So, similar to the restaurant use case, right? Like, your local gem can get delivered from DoorDash, but you can also get, McDonald's delivered from DoorDash and everything in between. We want to partner with every single store in your local community. And so on the retail side, we have, we of course have partners like, PetSmart and Bed Bath & Beyond, that are clearly in hundreds of cities and location. Exactly. These enterprise level retailers, and they're leaning in. But actually we've got a lot of local retailers leaning in as well. And the value proposition is the same. How we work with them is a little bit different, because the needs of, a 10,000 store chain like Dollar General is very different from, a local retailer. But the point is, you should come to the platform and be able to choose from any of them.
Well, and I think to your point too, Shanna, it's become a customer need now, or expectation, that they can get goods in a very short amount of time, in minutes. And I think that consumers are even willing to pay for this. I mean, I guess that's one clarifying question with the returns pilot that you're exploring or had explored. Is that something that the customer is taking on the cost for, or is that the retailer who's really saying, like, I'm going to offer this for my best customers, I'm going to actually send a dasher to their house to pick up those returns? How do you kind of think about the customer willingness to invest in that convenience?
I think that's a great point. And it's just one of those things that we have to test and figure out, right? Is there a willingness for the consumer to pay for part of this? Is there willingness for the retailer because it helps them in some way? Those are all the types of questions that are really good questions, and we just don't know the answers to, but I'm sure we'll figure it out over time.
Shanna, there's so much going on with DoorDash. I got to hear what's next. What are you guys working on? What kind of things are you going to be working? What innovations are you going to be working on in 2022 and beyond?
I tell you, it's about selection, selection, selection. So bringing on more retailers, bringing on more merchants, and making sure that everyone really has access to our customer base. Even in the last year, I think we've doubled the number of retailers on the platform, and so we have a long list of partnerships. So we'll be extremely busy. And it's not just about net new partnerships. Honestly, it's about innovating with our existing partners. Here we also announced our Double Dash partnership, which is pretty cool. What it means is, you can be ordering from Albertsons, and after you finish putting your order in Albertsons, DoorDash will prompt you, hey, did you need anything from Walgreens? Did you need anything from CVS? Did you need anything from another retailer? Because we're coming to your house anyways. Can we make it a little bit easier for you to get everything that you need? And so innovations like that, we're going to continue to double down on, and figure out how we can make it even easier for the merchant to reach this audience.
Yeah. And for the customer. I mean, you're going to solve 2 trips for me in one dash. That's incredible. I love that option. And kudos to Albertsons for kicking that off with you guys too. I'm glad and thankful for all of you at DoorDash, because you make our job very exciting. And we know we can always come to you for some fun and very innovative experiments in the retail industry. I would like to thank once again, this has been Shanna Prevé, the DoorDash Vice President of Global Partnerships. Shanna, thank you so much for being with us today. If people are hearing this at Shoptalk, they want to get in contact with DoorDash, what's the best way for them to do that?
So we're actually going to be in the South Convention Center, in the Lagoon area, and I believe that it's room C and D. So come on by. We would love to talk to you in the retail space and hear your questions, answer any questions, and frankly, hear your ideas.
Shanna, if people are hearing this after Shoptalk is over, what's the best way for them to find out more about DoorDash, how to become a DoorDash merchant? Where should they go?
So you can just head over to get.doordash.com. So that's get.doordash.com. Or if you have ideas for us, you can always reach me on LinkedIn. So I'm just LinkedIn/Shanna Prevé.
Excellent. Thank you so much on behalf of Shanna and myself. We hope everybody enjoys Shop Talk. And as always, be careful out there.